My silence was quite busy this morning. Just chattering. Probably on a 0 to 10 scale, and started with an 8 chatter and got to a 4 to my heart. And the chatter was mostly from pressure. My word is soothing compassion.
And there's a beautiful energy to it. So what I got today was the continual ebb and flow of the pulse of the body. Like the sea.
My word of the day is embrace. Embrace the richness of the life, of my life, of all life.
Thank you, Pascal.
Pascal.
My pleasure. And thank you for your words as well. Look what we're building.
I'm borrowing my word from today's full moon. It's a significant day in my energy, for my energy, with my energy. And the word is attunement. Attunement.
In a session entitled Power of Silence. Where anything can happen. When we attune into it, for it,
What comes to me is in the embrace of light. There is the soothing compassion of attunement to the constant ebb and flow of the pulse of the body. or the pulse of the silence.
That music is pulsing in the silence.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's always there.
Mm-hmm.
Rhythms are always different. The act of silence. I wanted to say it was the same, but it stopped me. I stopped. Silence was never the same.
Mm.
Nor is it ever really silent.
But it is constant. It's always there.
Mhm.
Dependable.
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
Soothing. When I can break through that uncomfortableness of the silence, when I can practice silence. And practice it with others.
it expands for me when I practice with others. It's stronger. I can hear more.
Mm.
And I can experience more.
And the words bring more in. But not to fill it up. Not to fill the silence with words like I'm doing now.
Mm.
Rhythm of silence together.
what came up for me also is that when you allow the unknown and you make space for the tuning into and the listening, there's this vast ocean of connection. Everything gets connected, or you experience the connection that there is. You experience the embrace of everything. And so that Buddhist definition of compassion comes to mind again. With the meeting of suffering, where love what was the word? It wasn't survive. It was where love reigns. Or remains. It speaks to the constancy of love, of the energy of love. The embrace of it.
without the pressure of suffering. Is the threats, the pressures, the worrying can easily take us out of the silence.
Mhm. Because it's so constricting, right? Whereas embrace has got a lot of space and expansion. And so does attunement. A contrast of constriction and expansion. Is very, very useful in terms of our awareness of it.
No, I choose abundant production today.
Mm.
And give that, share that, serve that.
Mm.
With those that need it, could use it, that could benefit. That was all my busyness was about.
I love that notion of serving abundant production. Serving it, being of service to others with it. And honoring it in yourself. Welcoming and honoring.
Giving and receiving
Mm-hmm.
as one thing,
Mm.
just like our breath. Inhale, exhale. The exhale cannot happen unless we inhale.
Mm.
So the more we receive, the more we give. The more we give, the more we receive. Took me a while to understand that one.
Well, there's expansion. And momentum.
Can't say I got it, Jeff Pascal.
Giving and receiving as a cycle. You can't tell where one ends and the other begins. Could be the same energy.
It's the ebb and flow.
The tides, the waves.
My choice for today is to stay connected to that constant pulse. To experience the embrace of it. With curiosity and listening.
Listening for what I know. Listening for what I care about. and to see those as constraints, as constrictions. And an opportunity to explore, to become an explorer of them.
Mm.
Because when I do, I find out that I can know more. And then I can refine and attune to what I care about even deeper, further, and farther. Because it's just feedback. Feedback that I don't want to be attached to. Don't want to be limited in. But, and space to create more with it. Bigger space, expanded space. A question for you this morning. Scale from 0 to 10, 10 being completely satisfied. How satisfied were you with your silence? And I'd say, as I started probably at a 2 and ended at a 6. And been expanding since that. So with each of you, it's been improving beyond the 6. So thank you for serving me. Serving me with your words. So that I could listen, measure, feedback, react, respond, think of, create from. For a moment, I could see from your perspective, and that opens space for me.
Mm. As we were talking, just thinking about the dance that there is between expansion and definition. That silence is expansion and words are definition. So there's a temporary boundary with the words. And then there's a connection with the words too. So when you dance between expansion and constriction, you open space even more.
Mhm. Yeah, that's difficult to do alone, isn't it?
Yes. Now, I don't want to leave, but I have made commitments that I've got to fulfill, or that I choose to fulfill. Thank you so very much again for this morning. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye, Allison. Thank you.
Big love, Allison.
Allison. So yeah, I'll answer your question, Jesse, about the silence. How satisfied I was with my silence session, you would say. I did it right after a breathwork session, so it's quite powerful when I do that right after. But today, the breathwork has been disturbed by, because I usually park at like a hidden spot. It's not really hidden, but like it's just away from everybody else. And 2 trucks came in, and I'm like, really? Why right now, right? Not that they want to talk to me. They just like, it's just a spot that we enter the compost, so they were just waiting there. But then I couldn't. Well, I just didn't want to close my eyes while they're there, like watching, right? So anyway, so it was still really good. Like I would give probably like a 7 based on the experience that I had in the past. It was pretty peaceful, and then I sun gazed for a while. So
Thank you, Pascal.
yeah. As much as I was uncomfortable in the silence before, now I embrace it. I'm a lot more grateful for the silence, because I was kind of that person that, especially in a conversation, right? If you're with someone and then like there's a moment of silence between the two, I felt really uncomfortable. I was, it's all these things that run through your head. You're like, oh, maybe they're not interested in me. They're this, they're that, right? So, I mean, I practice a lot with like my wife. We can go on a road trip and not talk to each other, but being comfortable with each other. But yeah, with friends it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different, but I get more and more comfortable now with the silence. And I see the power in it. As long that I don't let like my mind like taking over, that I always bring it back to the present moment.
So as you came into the session today, we were sitting in silence. I imagine, what advice would you give, or how would you shape it for someone stepping in just like you did, where you did, but not having, like, that is their first time? Well, I'm interested to see what that would be like, and introduce, like, giving this for someone to introduce them to it, like how to be with it.
Well, what I do, even when I get to you guys are talking about a subject or whatnot, I just tune in. I become very present with you guys, and then even though I didn't hear what you guys were saying for the last 15 minutes, or being silent for 15 minutes, for me, it's the advice would be just being present. And if there's something that comes up, then like say it. And it doesn't matter if it fits or doesn't fit in. Because like, look at how many subjects we're talking in one session. It's not like always like, oh yeah, we're talking just about this, right? It's just, so yeah. Because after that 15 minutes, like if you get like into like the middle of the silence, then be silent and then see what comes up. If you come like wherein it's the word of the day, then like, if you got nothing, you got nothing. But like, don't force it. That's what I would say. Don't try to be like interesting. So yeah, be present with the group. That's what I would say. Presence is the key.
Thank you, Pascal. And it's like it's practice. You're familiar with it, and it's like I share the tendencies like into something silent, into stepping into a position, a place like that will be extremely difficult. I mean, you think about it, it's like nowhere does anyone else do that.
Yeah, I know.
We don't do it in our life,
Yeah,
and
because you
we're
don't.
so
Yeah.
afraid of it.
Yeah, we don't see the value of it.
Mm.
Well, I do, but for the majority of people, they don't see the value of like being silent. We always want to be distracted.
Yeah, we don't see the value in anything we've never tried.
Thank you.
Because
Yeah.
how can you?
Yeah.
Yeah, uncomfortable with the unknown, right?
Mm. And we think of that. It's like, oh, so uncomfortable with silence. Wow. Like, what is silence good? Like, it's almost as if silence is going to hurt you. Hmm. And I think it's so important. That's why I choose to put it first.
You know, people don't want to know who they really are. And I would say by experience, for me, it's a tough road to go.
Hmm.
You know, because when you hear your thoughts, you're like, this is all my limited belief. Like, this is all my belief about others, about myself. Like, you're all gonna hear them in the silence. Right? But this is where you grow, right?
Where else can you hear but in silence?
Yeah.
And that's where hearing occurs. That's the funny part of it.
And I mean, like, most people wants to be intuitive, right? They want to hear, like, would that be nice to have a guide always tells you, yeah, you should take this road, you should go there, you're gonna, you know, whatever, you take this business and that's gonna, you know, would that be nice? But how a guide can talk to you when you're always distracted? You know, it's like playing music all day long, you know, like he can talk to you, but then you can't hear it because you already have music in your ears.
Yeah, how can
So
you hear over noise, right?
Yeah. So the only time it would be like when you're sleeping, right? And most people, they don't practice lucid dream. They're not conscious of their dream. So now they wake up and they don't remember their dream. So the guides are trying.
Yeah, I remember my story of hearing a voice over the sound of a lawnmower.
No, I didn't hear that one. Wow.
Yeah, lawnmower was whining at full tilt, and a voice actually got through. I heard it with my
Wow.
with my physical ears. Yeah, exactly. Must have been pretty important that I hear that.
Yeah, no kidding.
You know, that just hit me now.
Well, and it's like the practice isn't to stay in the silence. The practice is to listen, like to be in silence when there's a lot of noise going around. It's like we've said it here before. It's like so that we're living life in a meditative state, right? It's like in
Yeah.
and so like when it's noisy, we can still be centered in the silence. It's cool. That is clarity.
Yeah, and we've been practicing that.
It takes practice. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So that
Eventually it doesn't matter what the noise is. It's still here anyway.
Exactly. And what we're listening for is, oh, what do we want? We're just listening for the feedback around that. And oh, like we just train ourselves to see it differently. And differently meaning much more open, rather than fixed, rather than pressure, rather than fighting, defending, criticizing, judging, being, quote, being negative. And there's so much internal criticism that people are carrying around with them. That is what we silence. But it takes practice because we've conditioned ourselves that that's the only way to think about ourselves.
Conditioned ourselves to think that that's our only choice.
The only way it can be, the only way it is. And that's foolish, as we've come to discover. Nor do we need one person telling us all about it for an hour.
Now there's a radical suggestion.
So having someone to tell us for an hour.
Yeah, as in combining genius is not a lecture.
There's so much more when we share. You know, it's that rhythm, it's that feedback. It's that engagement. It's almost as if we learn 60% more.
Yeah, when we engage together.
It amplifies, it's compounds, it's exponentially. It's the fastest way.
You know what comes to mind, like when you guys are saying that to do it together? It's like I road bike, right? And I mean, the way I see these calls is like we always take turn in the front, because if we leave that one person in the front, they exhaust themselves, right? And then eventually, like, there's no power in it. So we're being silent behind each other, and then all of a sudden, like, oh, like it's my turn to go in front, and then like, you know, lead the group. And then I go back to the back, right? And then like we always switch roles.
Yes.
Yeah, and the
That's how we're
times are way faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
I was watching the Tour de France, and then like I was like, oh shit, like you see it, like, you know, the first big group, they're all together, and then like people they're trying to catch, it's so hard for them, right? Because they're doing it alone. Even if they're stronger than like the majority of the first group. You know, you got all the resistance. But behind someone, you get in the silence, and then like you can recuperate like your energy, and then now you can, like, you know, you can sprint it to the front, right? Use your power.
Good morning, Mona. Welcome. I invite you. It's like the power of silence. It's been the theme today. The words that showed up in that silence is soothing compassion. Rhythm. This rhythm within the silence. It's like hearing the sea. By embracing life's rich rhythms with the practice of attunement. And as you came in, Pascal, we were sharing the experience of silence for those that may be new, that may have never experienced it before. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you.
We'll just step to the side. If there's anything you would like, we'll just give you space. If not, we'll continue on.
I'm liking the silence. It actually shows up at a time that seems to be really perfect because the silence gives me an opportunity for some reflection as to things that are important and what should take priority going forward in the future, kind of thing. I received some news that has a lot of gravity to it yesterday, and it really puts into focus things that are way far more important than things that have been happening around me and in my family. And it puts in the focus things that should be important and things that other people have been finding important that are not. I know that might not make sense.
And it's perfect. Does it make sense to you? Yeah, and it's like you're releasing it so that you can see, you can reflect in the feedback. Your feedback. It sounds like you got what you wanted, but not in the way that you expected it.
Yeah, I got an opportunity that I didn't realize would be the only opportunity that I would ever get to receive. And I'm grateful for that opportunity. And I'm not going to let anything in the future tarnish the memory of that opportunity. Does that make sense?
Your commitment, the importance to you, the lesson, the feedback for you is what makes sense.
Yeah.
As
I had
listen to it.
I had a really good experience that I'm not going to allow somebody else to tarnish with their pettiness. I'm going to be very protective of it. And the neat part is I'm okay with the way it's going to play out. And I'm realizing that family is not always who you get quote unquote stuck with by birth, but family is who you can choose it to be. Sometimes you get way too many entanglements, and it can be too tiring to work out those entanglements, and sometimes it's better just to not try and let them rest.
Yeah, and then they usually start to untangle when we do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the weird part is you start realizing sometimes when you start getting quiet you start realizing how much of a story other people can make up, and you're like, you kind of start wondering if you were that same way too.
Mm,
Mm,
mm.
yeah, you start noticing that pattern was at you too, until
That's
you
right.
started getting quiet. And then you're like, holy cow.
Yep.
That's great, Mona. Thank you.
And it gives a sense of progress that we can't see from day to day. I'm proud of you seeing the opportunity side of it. Letting it go in the way that it can only go. Choosing to put the force, the pressure down, and focusing, committing to what matters to you, what's important to you. And that is when we say stepping into our power, the power of our choice, the power of our perceptions, the power of our reality. As Pascal said just before you came in, and it's not easy.
No,
And he said we were talking about that of sitting in the silence. People that have never done it, the first thing they want to do is get away from it. How ironic is that? Like we're afraid of silence.
is it the silence that we're really afraid of, or is it what we think that we're going to run into from ourselves in that silence?
Could be that. And it could be, as we've said, it could be just that it's how different it is. It's unfamiliar. And we're always afraid of unfamiliars. It's like we're out of control of it. We don't know where it's going to go. So I think it's that inside of it, right? Because we are, what happens is we end up listening to that little voice that fills in the silence. We expect it to go a certain way, and when it doesn't, we get the hell out of there.
I see.
And that goes for everything in life. So you think about it, if we want things to change in our life, yet we get away from anything that's different. That's how we end up, and that's how we just keep recreating the default patterns over and over again. I want my life to, I want things to be different. Well, and I'm going to avoid anything that's new.
Yeah. I want it to be different, but I want it to feel the same.
Yeah, yeah. See the oscillation? So we'll go forward into new just until it starts to feel uncomfortable, and then we'll come back to it. Come back to the comfortable. Until we get like you, Mona, and we see that pattern and we say, oh no, that's just the pattern. It's just giving me feedback. I'm going to stand here in the tension, in the uncomfortable, in the tension, and see what new is there for me. And we stop giving focus to those old patterns. Allow them to attune. When we stop feeding them and start feeding what we want or something different, start feeding change. So it's as if we're working so hard to hold it all together, even though we want it to fall apart. Better yet, need it to fall apart. So that we can pick up those pieces and put it back together in a new organization, a new structure, the way we want it. That's when we see what we're making up in the silence. See that it keeps playing again and again. We can learn to change it. That's only if we want different outcomes. So I choose to serve abundant production with soothing compassion for myself.
Gentlemen, I need to go. I have to go into my first stop of the day. Thank you for letting me come. It was a wonderful meeting.
Thanks, Mona. Have a great day.
Great to have you here, Mona. Big love.
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
Bye.
Bye. I think I'm there too, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm complete too. Thank you, Jesse. This was really enlightening today.
Thanks, Greg.
Yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, the
Thanks,
only thing I
Pascal.
would add, because Mona, she was speaking about maybe in the silent one comfortable of seeing a part of herself or something like that. And what came to mind is like, because we're scared of the unexpected. Something I can't quite recall what she said, but anyway, so what came to mind is like, we even do that when we look ourselves in the mirror. And I mean, what we see is what we get, and we know what we're gonna get every time, but we're uncomfortable of, you know, just looking at ourselves like naked, for example. There's always this inner thought like, oh yeah, maybe I should be muscled, or I should be more beautiful, I should did this, blah, 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 you know? And yeah, it doesn't happen just in the silence. It happens just looking at ourselves, and then we expect people to love us, but we can't even say to ourselves like, I love you. I love you. You know, yeah, we use a mirror just to kind of like, you know, get ready and make ourselves beautiful, but we can't even say it to ourselves. But we expect other people to love us. Yeah, so I've been practicing. That's another practice I'm doing. It's like looking at myself without judgment.
Mhm.
Completely no judgment.
Yep.
And how fast does it bring me back to who I am?
That takes some practice though, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, big time,
I
big
know.
time. And I spoke to friends about it, right? I says like, you know, start loving yourself. You know, he says, I can't. I'm like, well, when you're ready. You know, the mirror will be always there for you.
Yeah. But that whole love dynamic is really messed up, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like all over the place.
Oh yeah. Beauty is messed up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because like you have like 15, 20 pounds extra that you know, you're not beautiful anymore. But the core level, we're all the same. You know, it's just that suit. We just have a different suit. But we can't love our suit. So yeah, I stole this quote from Paul Chek, but I've been doing that. So I look at myself in the mirror and I say, "Hi, I love you. It's a great day and live fully. Let's create beauty, love, harmony together today and forever." So yeah, I'll leave you guys with that.
Thank you, Pascal.
My pleasure.
Thanks, Craig.
Yeah, nice. Thank you, Jesse. Yeah. Wow.
Oh, what's wow?
Oh, it's just
They're really good when they are. So it's like, oh,
okay. Okay. Well, just you notice I didn't say much today. And you know, just exercising silence was just really profound. It doesn't matter where the brilliance comes from or who says it. Or even if the silence says it.
Yeah, and you said like you didn't say a lot,
No, I didn't.
but it's almost like that we have to say a lot. Sometimes it's just like a few words and then like it will move someone like you wouldn't believe, right?
Yeah.
So it's not how much you say, it's how you say it. And like,
well, not even
what-
that. The thing is, I knew you guys were hearing me without me even saying anything.
Hmm.
Because
Ears of
the
heart.
silence spoke it for me, right?
Yeah.
You know, I didn't have to say anything.
Hmm.
Communication happened anyway.
Yeah. I agree. What amazed me, it's like sometimes it says before I say it. Or we said it in the same time.
Yeah. Or somebody took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like I've been listening like a podcast, say, and then you'll come on and you're like, how does he know that?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like you pick my brain, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's just super interesting.
That's because we're swimming in the same space.
Yeah.
You know, there doesn't have to be words there.
No.
There's a saying that I like. It goes like this. Preach the gospel to everyone. If necessary, use words.
Oh, I got a question for you guys. If say like you have one or two questions you could ask to God for your evolution, you know, to move you forward or something, or to expand you, what would it be? And don't think about it. Just what's there, what's there.
I always like the I wonder how question.
For me is the dynamics of expectations and timing.
So how the dynamic of timing?
The relationship of timing and expectations.
So an open-ended question as to how could this end result occur?
So like the process?
No, it's open-ended. It could be a process, but it could be something totally different. Might not have anything to do with the process.
And I'm sure I'd get a very simple, straightforward answer that I would have to spend a lifetime working in to make sense of it.
So simplicity. Well, everything is simple.
Yep.
We're the one that makes it complicated.
Yep.
Yeah, by trying to make sense of it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, how do you make sense of a miracle, right? But that's what I want. I want a miracle.
Yes, and why are we surprised when they happen?
rejected. Oh, it can't be me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, how could I have
So-
possibly had anything to do with that?
Which is why they don't happen very often.
Yeah.
And I
There's a
think
lot
that
of
has-
belief in the I
Yeah,
wonder
the-
question.
The concept of I wonder.
There's belief there inside of that question. Because it's open-ended.
But if there's a belief or concept or ideology, it's kind of restricted to me.
Yeah, but it's an open belief. It's a belief that it could be anything.
Mm.
Every word has a expansion and contraction to it. It's just the key is how do we orient to it? Which one do we only see? Because usually we only see one angle of it.
Like, are my beliefs hard or are they soft?
Mm.
Is my language hard? Like, do I use words like should or must or have to or never? Or do I
Or
use
need
words like
to.
could or possibly or
Which question would you ask, Pascal?
I don't know.
that's a good place to start.
Yeah. Well, the only one I would say it's like kind of what's blocking me from my own impotence.
No, why can't you ask the question?
Yeah, I can. I can.
It's like we got to wait until that moment, right? It's like, oh, then I'll ask it.
Yeah.
I'll just wait for the miracle to show up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'll actually watch for it.
Desire and intention.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I'm going to step out.
Have a great day, Jesse.
Thank you.
Yeah, you
You
too,
guys
guys.
All right, bye.